Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodlesblit, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Bat Châtillon 25-ton Avenir. This is a Tier 9 French collector light tank. It is a vehicle that you are going to be able to get your hands on starting Monday the 6th, which is quite exciting. We are going to be talking about this tank's statistics, its capabilities, comparing it to the tech tree Bat Châtillon 25-ton AP, and its overall capabilities. As always, there's only one thing I ask from you, and that is to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's start off with the event itself. It's very simple. Players can get clan tickets and spend them for valuable rewards. Clan tickets can be acquired by completing daily and weekly missions by winning matches with fellow clanmates. Clan tickets can also be acquired in-store as well in the clan progression bar. This is the main way of getting your hands on the Bat Châtillon Avenir. It doesn't seem like this is going to be an incredibly challenging tank to get, which is quite nice. It seems all you need to do is make sure you are keeping up on your clan missions, participating in platoons with friends, and hopefully you should be able to get your hands on this vehicle quite easy. Let's start off today's video by comparing the statistics of the Bat Châtillon Avenir to the Bat Châtillon 25-ton AP. And to save everybody's sanity, I'll be calling the Avenir, and the 25-ton AP just the 25-ton AP, so I don't have to say Bat Chat every second in today's video. Let's start off with the damage per minute of these tanks. The Avenir features 2,610, and the 25 AP features 2,570. It's a slight damage per minute advantage for the Avenir, but let's be honest, it's not really enough that you're going to notice any bit of a difference. Penetration-wise, both vehicles are very similar. The Avenir has 236 mils on the standard, 280 on the premium. The 25-ton AP has 244, so a slight advantage on the standard, but if you swap over to the premium, it actually has a slight disadvantage. Honestly, I don't think you're going to notice much of a change with only about 3 mils of differentiating penetration for these tanks. What you will notice a huge difference on is the high explosive damage. The Avenir has 440 damage on its high explosive, which is insane, where the 25-ton AP has 350. That is a 20% increase in high explosive damage, and is obviously going to allow the Avenir to deal insane clipping potential, upwards of 1,320 if you get a full clip out. We can see that the reload of these tanks are pretty similar, but there is a big advantage for the Avenir, and that is dumping time. It is a 2.4 second burst in the Avenir, which means in total it takes 4.8 seconds to deal the 930 potential damage, where it's going to take you 2.8 seconds per shell on the Bat Châtillon AP, which is actually quite a bit longer. That means it's 5.6 seconds to get your full clip out in the AP. So quite a big difference there. It's about a 0.8 second difference in total of clipping potential, which is obviously going to change a lot of the playing field. Now, something I should mention is that you do feature shell reload boost, which is actually getting buffed fairly soon on the 25-ton AP. Shell reload boost definitely gives a big advantage when you activate the consumable, making you dump even faster on intraclip than the Avenir. But I still will say I personally love the fact that you don't need to rely on a consumable for the Avenir, so I'm still going to stick with the Avenir when it comes to at least the damage potential, especially with that absolutely nutty high explosive. Moving over to the aiming time and overall gun handling, this is where things take a downhill curve. The Avenir has good aiming time, 1.36 seconds, but you're going to need it because its base dispersion is 0.344. That's what you're going to get when it's fully kitted out. That's pretty dang bad. And you might say, well, I'll run refined gun. Personally, I wouldn't suggest that because it also features some of the worst on-move values in Tier 9. In fact, for a medium, it is the worst paired with lights. So pretty dang bad in that regard. We can see it is 0.17 on move and rotating the turret and tank when you compare that to the 0.09 on the tech tree. So yeah, using this vehicle on the move is nearly impossible. It's about the same accuracy as a 1-2-1 in that regard. And when you pair that with pretty poor dispersion in general, definitely pretty lackluster in that department. You compare that to the tech tree, and you got 0.326 dispersion, much better on-move values. So even though the aiming time's about 10% worse, it doesn't really matter, because you're not going to have to spend 8 minutes trying to aim in that watermelon of a circle. Moving over to the mobility department, we can see that both tanks are pretty similar. The 25-ton AP goes 65, reverses at 20. The Avenir goes 62 and reverses at 18. So a little bit slower, and in terms of power to weight, it's actually faster. It's got a better effective horsepower to ton ratio, and it's got the same terrain resistances, so it just accelerates faster. So while it does have a slower top speed in reverse, it still does accelerate faster out of situations, which is quite nice. The last thing I thought we should talk about is the HP and armor. The Avenir features 50 more hit points, which could help you never know, and it also has 10 more millimeters of turn armor, meaning that you might just get one of those troll bounces or a high explosive shell will struggle to pen you. Overall, when we take a look at the statistics of the Avenir, we can definitely tell that it seems to be kind of worse in a lot of ways to the tech tree, especially when you add on the fact this vehicle does not feature spall liner as a provision, which kind of sucks, especially judging that you have the same sides and overall hull as the tech tree. So people are going to HE this thing like crazy, and I don't blame them, because why wouldn't you? You know for a fact it doesn't have spall liner. So with the bad on movement dispersion, the pretty poor capabilities on its gun in general compared to the tech tree, yeah, and not having shell reload boost and no spall liner, there's definitely room for questioning on what this tank really has as an advantage over the tech tree. Well, there's only two things that really come to mind. Clipping speed, as I did mention, this tank does shoot its shells a bit faster, 0.8 seconds. And when you don't have your shell reload boost available because it's on cooldown, that is quite nice. The other advantage of the Avenir is that it's a little bit faster on acceleration, which means you will get in and out of situations faster. Apart from that, I'm going to be honest, the tech tree seems like it's quite a bit more effective in most situations. In fact, I even messaged the community manager when he told me about this vehicle and that I was able to play it ahead of time, and I said, you should definitely buff the on-move of the Avenir. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can tell you for a fact that you are going to be mighty disappointed when trying to use this light tank, especially with any shots on the move. So obviously, we have taken a look at the base statistics of this tank, and we can get a good idea of how it's going to play and its overall characteristics. But now, let's get into some live gameplay and actually see this tank's capabilities. I'm quite excited for this battle. It's a solid matchup up against Tier 8, so we should be able to do some good things. Now, I don't really know how to say this, but I think Wargaming balanced this tank the worst way they could have ever balanced any light tank. In my opinion, the most important characteristics for a light tank are mobility and accuracy. Because if you don't have mobility, obviously, you're kind of a sucky light tank. You're going to be shot, you're going to be HE'd, things like that. So, having mobility is key. And this tank has good mobility. As we saw, it has a better power to weight than the tech tree Bat Chat, which is very solid. However, what it doesn't have is accuracy. In fact, it is probably the worst accuracy 310 alpha gun in Tier 8, Tier 9, and Tier 10. It's quite sad. The dispersion itself is 0.344, which in my opinion is kind of a joke. I don't understand how Wargaming can give a light tank the same dispersion as vehicles like an IS-4, the same dispersion as vehicles like a VZ-55 or a Caro 45 ton. I mean, the Caro is known as the least accurate medium in Tier 10, and yet its gun triumphs in comparison to this vehicle. Why? Well, first of all, you've got that 0.344 dispersion on this tank, but you also have 0.17 on move, and it's 0.2 base. It's only 0.17 when you're running V-stabs, and by the way, I should mention, Wargaming is nerfing vertical stabilizers in the upcoming future. So yeah, this tank basically feels like you're driving an FE2-7 Badger with a clip. Look at how inaccurate this gun is. I mean, we're in a light tank, and we literally had to sit there aiming on the rear of a heavy for a solid 2 seconds before we could even shoot the Kampfpanzer, and because we spent so long aiming in, we couldn't even get our second shell out. Having that fast intra-clip doesn't really matter all too much if you're not even able to hit your shots. And maybe you could argue, well, Wargaming might want you to play this vehicle somewhat aggressive, but I don't understand what you're supposed to do in this tank aggressive, judging that it has the same armor as the Tech Tree Bat Chat, but without Spall Liner, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Now, we do have the rear of this SU, and we're going to focus on shooting the rear of this SU. Come on, nice, there you go. Juicer HE into the rear of his tank, and we finish him off. Don't get me wrong, I don't think this tank is bad. I think that it has a lot of capabilities where it's fantastic. The clipping potential is great. When you're able to get it properly used, I mean, you can get absolutely crazy results out. You saw when I was going over the stats, I got a 6,400 damage game, but at the same time, I mean, everything I've done in this game, I could have definitely done in the Tech Tree. Look at the accuracy on this thing when we're trying to get to the side of the Semil. Look at the size of that aiming circle. If one of our shells just went a little bit unlucky there, this game could have been a very different outcome. We got the ClanEvent in front of us. The Tortoise is shooting him, so I'm not too worried about the ClanEvent. It's the Kampfpanzer that is a big threat. I don't know where the Kampfpanzer is. Oh, he's rolling around the corner. Let's try and... Okay. I don't understand how the Kampfpanzer just hit that. But, hey, it's a great example of talking about Spall Liner. This tank does not feature Spall Liner, and because of that, we do not have the ability to reduce the HE damage we receive. So, for example, if we were in the Tech Tree right now, running Spall Liner would have reduced that damage we received from about 750 to probably down to 550 or somewhere around there. That's a pretty big change in the damage received, and it actually would have allowed us to be able to take a shot at least 50-50 from the enemy Kampfpanzer, but because we don't have Spall on this tank, we don't have that capability. Again, it just seems like every path Wargaming could have taken to make this tank fun and enjoyable. They were like, nah, let's not give it good accuracy. Let's not give it good on-movement dispersion. Let's not give it Spall Liner. I don't know. Like, it's a tricky tank to voice my opinion on because it's fun to play. But at the same time, I mean, look at the size of this aiming circle. We're barely even moving the tank. And it's basically the same as a 1-2-1. You can't snap shots in this vehicle. And you're in a light tank, for Pete's sake. What kind of light tank can't snap? Look at how long we've aimed it on this Kampfpanzer. It's so sad. In fact, that shell just missed. Why did that miss? I don't know. It shouldn't have. Name any other light tank that would have missed that shot right there. Even a T-92E1 probably wouldn't have missed that. Wow. I don't know. I don't want to constantly complain and sound like a negative Nancy. And we're doing good here. We're at 5,500 damage. We've absolutely carried this battle, and we're definitely going to be the reason this team wins the game. But could the Tech Tree Bat Chat have done everything we did here? Yeah. Easily. And not only that, but I think the Tech Tree Bat Chat would have done it easier because of the fact it has Spall Liner, shell reload boost, and a more accurate gun. The shots that we missed in this vehicle would not have missed in the Tech Tree. Oof, I don't know. I really don't know. I am quite disappointed in the way Wargaming has balanced this tank. But hey, 5,751 damage is a pretty freaking strong result. So, what am I to complain? So let's break into one more battle here. Now, originally I was going to show a replay of a Tier 10 game, but honestly, the majority of Tier 10 battles I had in this tank weren't all too exciting. I mean, I've had a couple 3 and 4K games, but it's just your average camp, flank, farm, repeat. And this game definitely features those same characteristics, but once again, you're going to see in certain areas where this vehicle's gun feels like pulling teeth trying to hatch a T-95. But you're also going to see situations where this gun feels great. Look at how bad that on-movement dispersion is. I'm very lucky that those shells did hit the enemy FV301, but they did, and I was able to get 2 shots into his tank, already reloading the clip. Now, our team is going wide, which is quite nice. This obviously gives me the opportunity to move up here and wait for the FE301 to hopefully back up and get the clear. Again, I'm waiting for that aiming time, but once we get fully aimed in, it's not too bad. The major thing you're going to have to be careful about in this tank is moving. I know that sounds weird, moving in a light tank, but seriously, that's your major downside. When you move in this vehicle, the gun blooms. And you're basically like a 1-2-1. You gotta sit still and hope that's how you can hit your shots. So we got a P-44 Pantera and an SU-130 in front of us. And I was really hoping I could HE the rear of the Pantera. However, at that angle, I was not able to. So I figured, you know what? Just gonna get 3 AP shells into his tank. Every single one low roll. Actually impressive. We did like an 800 damage clip when we should have done about 900. But oh well. It's not the biggest deal ever. We're at 1,600 damage. We haven't bled any health. This is kind of how you want to play your light tanks in general. Wait for your opponent to make a mistake, get distracted by somebody else, and punish them. So the SU-130 is on reload. We get one shot into his tank. We mess that one up. That's completely my fault, but I made sure not to mess up the final HE, so it doesn't matter. We clear him, and now we are in a bit of a problematic situation. That is a T-95. And we are in a vehicle that doesn't have spall liner. I don't know if he's going to shoot HE, but guess what? He shot HE at the defender, which means he probably would have shot it at me. I can't pen his lower plate. This is where that literal joke of an accuracy value comes into play. 2 bounces. I got lucky the one even penned him. If I was in the tech tree bat chat, I'm pretty confident we would have at least cleared him here. But that's the problem with this tank. It doesn't feature that accuracy. And these are really important things here to do. Getting these clears are changing what could be a loss into a win. Right now, my team is falling apart on the heavy flank, and I need to be able to get that T-95 cleared. Thankfully, my Defender Mark 1 gets the shot into his hatch. There's no way I would have been able to confirm that shell, though. And if I was just stuck there without help of that defender, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have tried to leave and just hope that the 95 doesn't nuke me. But it is a great example of where, again, the accuracy on this tank being a joke is just not able to deal with everyday situations that most mediums would. So we have the rear of the VK. Again, look at this thing's on move. It's sad. But thankfully, we did hit the shots. I'm going to get behind the WZ. And man, king of low rolls today. 260 into his rear. And that's pretty dang sad. I made sure that the WZ is not able to see me. I maneuver my way all the way into cover. And we're at 3,600 damage and doing pretty good so far. But it's not a guaranteed win yet. My Tiger 2 is stock, which is not great, and he's also been in spawn the entire battle. And my Defender is a one-shot, and unfortunately our Defender is not the brightest bulb when it comes to playing, as you're going to see in just a moment. I get my shell into the WZ, and I've decided, yeah, there's no way he's poking again. I might as well reload the clip in this amount of time, making my way over to his vehicle. So our teammate WZ is, or not our teammate WZ, our teammate Defender is going to push up, and I basically know the Defender is going to kill himself, so I just wait for the WZ to finish him off, just like that, and now I'm able to push up. So we are going to ignore the WZ and focus the enemy Tiger 2. This is a much more important fish to clear. He is obviously fighting my Tiger 2, and I need to get him shot. Now we're going to squeeze our tank right into this little position here where we are not able to be hit by the WZ-114. He gets shot by the Tiger 2. I actually find it really impressive this 114 fails to kill the Tiger 2, judging that he's literally in a tier 9 against a stock tier 8, but this is where that faster clipping potential does feel nice. 1, 2, 3 shells into the 114. We're able to back up before he can get around the corner because of his dead driver, and we've dealt 5,800 damage. The Tiger 2 is going to get another pen into the WZ. Somehow the WZ bounces the shell. Just like that, we are going to roll around the corner and get this clear. So, I mean, I don't know. The tank struggles a lot. And I've had many situations where this gun has made me literally want to commit rope neck. But I've also had many situations where this tank felt great. I've had a lot of 6Ks in the vehicle. You've actually seen 3 just in today's video alone. So, I mean, yeah, not a bad result at all there. And that was actually the last game I just played in the vehicle. Making our way over to the stats tab, I've played quite a few battles in this tank just to get an idea of how it plays. I feel like once you're close to the 20 battle mark, you've got a good idea and you can kind of average out your stats here and there. So I'm going 73%, which is pretty good, and 3,166 damage. That's especially good when you realize one of the games I got nuked by a 183 and died almost full health. So yeah, if you take out that 300 damage game, I'm easily going around 3,500 in this tank. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So as much as I want to hate on this vehicle and diss on the accuracy, it's still a mobile vehicle with a really solid clipping potential. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to get frustrated with this tank. Anybody that knows what good accuracy feels like is going to get mad at this tank. So do I think it's worth your time? Well, if you can get it for a little effort, chilling with your friends in clan missions, then it's not a bad reward. Does it earn credits? I honestly have no clue, but there's one easy way to find out, and that is taking a look. 138,000 for this victory here. That's a first class. So yeah, definitely earns decent credits, which is always something that you want in a vehicle like this. But at the end of the day, if you don't get it, don't be too disappointed. The Tech Tree Bat Chat is honestly just a better tank. It's got better dispersion, on movement dispersion, accuracy after shot. It's got better consumables. It's got better provisions. yeah, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think this tank is cool. It looks really nice. But at the end of the day, that on-movement dispersion really hurts its overall enjoyment and performance in the battlefield. I hope Wargaming buffs that at some point. I doubt they will. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this vehicle, and I'll see you in the next one. Please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Bye-bye.